Welcome back to another vlog, and I'm going on a little streak on wrecking the drift car. Roll the clip. Yeah, it looks a whole lot worse than what it actually was. I did vlog, kind of. I probably vlogged like a handful of clips, but I'm driving my car. I've never let anyone drive my car. The audio was really bad, and with the audio being so terrible, I was gonna do like a voiceover thing, but then I realized how many actual clips I have, and I just decided not to post it. The reason the audio was super bad was I forgot my external mic that I had, the little wind sock thing. I forgot to take it, and in Apple Valley there's always like slight wind blowing, and it just caused all kinds of distortion on my audio. That's aside the point. So crashed the car. Terrible, right? It looked horrible. Let's assess the damage. So if we look at the side of the car, I got a nice pretty little dent, kind of probably hard to see. There you go. So that got pushed in slightly. The car was so sideways. I'll actually run a slow-mo clip of how like sideways the car actually got. And with it being sideways, my gas cap was like opened, and it should open like here, but then like the dirt touched it a little more and pushed it a little past its limits. So it got bent here, which doesn't matter. I got those two things, a broken inner tie rod, and then the Heim joint on the rear arm broke again. I have a picture. So that's all the damage was. I ended up driving off track, and after I drove off track and I had the Heim broken, I tried to fix it and weld it back up. There was a super cool dude there, Don Shredda. Old dude, old cat, who's out there killing it. I would have never expected that, but he had a flux core welder on a generator in his RV. He was super kind enough to like let us borrow it. And so while I was trying to fix it, I lowered the car. The welds didn't hold up enough. I didn't have enough contact on the like DMT kit to like get the car going again. And so that ended it. The reason I went for the whole like welding onto the DMT kit and like completely ruining the whole thing is because mentally I was already prepared to swap out the entire rear end and kind of rearrange it around. And that's what today's video is all about. So part one of this video, I'm gonna go with Garagistics. I don't know what these are. I still need to figure that out. So they're serrated tabs for camber. We're gonna get those welded in. And then I didn't want to reveal too much until part two, but this is gonna be part two of the video for my toe adjustment. So no more DTM style, no more everything on one part of the wishbone of the control arm. I'm gonna separate the jobs, and I'm gonna have camber on one side and then toe on the other. The reason I'm doing that is because if I break on track, this is gonna cost me like 40 bucks to replace. But that's kind of like the route I'm going with. I want something that I can on track fix and not just have to break and then it's like, oh shoot, like I'm out, you know? And so going forward, I don't want to do that. I want a seat time car. I don't want to crash and then cry about car, if that makes sense. Enough jibber jabber. I need to raise the car. Once I raise the car, we're gonna disconnect control arms, axles. I'm gonna drop the diff. Another thing that potentially broke, it's either my diff or an axle. When I was getting the car back on the trailer, I was getting a one wheel peel. So we're gonna assess that, figure out if it's an axle, if it's a diff, whatever it is. I have replacements for both, so I'm not worried about it. I also have a replacement for the inner tie rod. But yeah, take off the control arms, take off the axles, the diff, remove the drive shaft, drop the entire subframe, have the subframe on my table, and we're gonna start welding the Garagistic kit in, get it all nice and snazzy, and we'll go from there. I don't know how much I'm gonna show of the rear end being taken apart. It's kind of like just whatever you see, just take it off. Okay, so I think I'm gonna record this part because everything's off. It's just a subframe, and the diff's connected to the subframe, but the diff is like free. So I'm gonna drop the subframe with the diff. And hopefully it goes by smooth. Subframe is out. It was a struggle, I'm not gonna lie, but I already had a Garagistic subframe for my OG subscribers, you guys know already. And then we painted it purple and we did all that jazz, and we picked it up straight from Garagistic actually. So having the V1 adjustment here, I went straight to the DTM Heim joint. So to get rid of like this oval and not use it, I passed the hardware through with like a washer, and it was pretty much kind of locked in to a measurement. But anyways, we're gonna end up cutting all of that, and we're gonna get the little slider deals, and we're gonna set it on top of this lip, not at the base, at the lip, so I can get extra adjustment. I might even put it like a little higher. And then the top part, I'm sure it's gonna hit the frame of the car, but I'm gonna hammer it, notch it, whatever I have to do. I wanna try to get positive camber with these, and I'm pretty sure I can achieve it. Once I, cut it, weld it, I am going to box it. So box this up higher and close it out, add some little triangle pieces and stuff to like make it extra reinforced. I probably should have looked up a video, but I think I'm fine. I'll just clean that up with like a flap disc or something. I didn't want to cut the lip. I want to keep as much material as I possibly can on the top. But now let's just notch it. Okay, so all that noise was just so we can clear the hardware on both sides. So I took off the excess material already. It's all good to go. I just have to like clean up the metal and give myself a nice clean welding surface so I can weld to this. All right, more talking, more explaining. I feel like I gotta explain this one. So the little slider shim deals, I noticed that they're directional. So just FYI for you peeps installing this. See how the grooves don't really line up? They're kind of offset. I hope the camera can pick that up. But if you flip it in a certain direction, it's like bam, it lines up perfectly. 2 is I want like maximum camber out of this. Not too maximum, because if I wanted to, I can weld this like all the way up here. But aside from this lip, I'm gonna set these 2 shims that I still don't know what they do, but it's gonna act as a spacer to get that welded on. And as soon as it's welded on and on there, bam, take them out. And then that's gonna be the height. And I'm gonna do that all the way around. That should be good enough to where if I wanna lower the car even more, I can take out all the camber I want. But yeah, that's kind of what we're gonna get at. And it's gonna be like all the way over here. Once it's all like adjusted a little higher, it's gonna be like this. So that's why I gotta box up higher, or even like plate it on top and then add some like side plates. I wonder if I have scrap metal. But anyways, yep. Welder is on. Ground is set. Always make sure you have your freaking nozzle cleaned, areas cleaned. I'm gonna try to pull this off by myself. Feel like I need a second pair of hands, but right there. I think my wire speed's perfect. I'm not puddling a bunch of material on one side. I didn't want like so much material pulled up. Had some nice heat penetration. Let's do all 4. The camera's kind of in my way, so you guys got to see one. I can't stress enough the importance of a welder. But anyways, the serrated tabs are all welded on. Kind of a pain in the butt. You want to try real hard not to get close to those teeth right there. So if you get close to the teeth, you're obviously going to mess it up. So stick your weld more on this side, kind of fill the gap, fill the groove. I throw some welds obviously on each side, and like I filled the entire like inner part down there. Point out with this pencil. Filled all that in there. So that's good. My next plan, I've Googled a bunch of images of like how like DTM peeps do it on E30s. I'm not gonna do it exactly like they do, but I am gonna put this plate on top. The reason I cut it like this, like real short on each edge, is not only do I wanna give myself a nice surface area to weld on, I'm gonna keep the weld more on top of the plate, avoid the teeth at the top, because that little plate's gonna be up here. So I really don't wanna mess these teeth up. If you mess them up down here, it doesn't really matter. If you're buying this, it's because you want positive camber or close to zero, and that's all up here. So I'm gonna be very careful with that. That's why I cut that metal short. DTM style stuff has like crazy old box triangles coming out like out here, over here. I might do it. I'm just nervous that if I do it, I won't be able to fit like a wrench or something. I'd have to test it out. But I know adding this plate will for sure strengthen this top part here. Half of it's already welded on down here. I'm not worried about this. I'm worried about it snapping here. So I'm gonna add some structural rigidity by adding this plate. And then with that there, I'm probably gonna leave it alone. I honestly don't think it's gonna take much abuse. I think the weakest point will be this side when I weld these guys in, and then these guys are gonna be the part that's breaking. So I'm not too worried about this side, but anyways, that's the next step. Plate the top, strengthen it. Definitely don't leave them floating like that. They can probably snap off. Let's see if I can get a clip of this. I'm gonna throw some tacks. Pin it down. I have a really slow wire speed because I don't want to puddle up too much. So let's just do a quick weld across on this side. All right. Look at that. It looks great. So I found out that even these are directional. If I flip this the other way around, it goes a tooth downwards and the bolt's angled weird. So just make sure you watch out for that. I didn't want to touch this side anymore, but I'm sure once I start tightening the bolt, the teeth are gonna close. That's still making great contact, but I like it, man. The welds came out nice and crispy. I like that. Kind of messed up below there, just don't look at it. All right, I'm happy with that. That came out great. It's gonna be good. All that's left really is I'm gonna have to like blast some holes in like the rear seat areas so this part can fit, because it is gonna protrude through. The reason for that is because I have the offset pushings. Whatever company you go with, I went with Condor Speed Shop just for the color scheme. But if you get offset rack bushings like this, these will poke out even more. I think if you have regular bushings, this might still hit, but who knows. But anyways, this is part one done of what I wanted to do. Part one's done. Thank you guys for watching. If you guys have any comments, questions about any of this, let me know down below. Make sure you guys like the video, por favor. Tell your friends, tell your mom. Thanks for watching. Peace.